Hey guys, today is a special video. It's a sponsored install video for Contagious Diesel Performance. They hooked me up with a set of injectors, so I'm going to be doing an injector how to install video for them. So I'll show you the tools we need to get the job done. So what we're going to need are our new injectors. I opted for the 7x.009 sack style injectors by Contagious Diesel Performance. We're going to need some miscellaneous extensions. We'll need an 8mm, a 10mm, and a 13mm. We'll need a ratchet, a 3/4 inch wrench, and a torque bar capable of doing inch pounds. So the first step in installing our set of custom diesel injectors will be to remove the apps sensor and the intake horn. One thing I did forget to mention is we're going to need an 11mm socket for the air boots. So we'll undo the top one and spin the intake out of the way. Now that we've got the intake horn out of the way, we can go about undoing the apps, or accelerator pedal position sensor, and that's 13mm. Just unplug the plug from the bottom of it. It should just be a push to connect, just like that, and we'll set this off to the side as well. Now the next thing we've got to do is undo all the injector lines. We can start with down off the injector pump itself using a 3/4 inch or 19mm wrench. Just break them all loose. And then we'll go around and undo the 10mm nuts that are actually holding the lines down. And we can also do those ones and remove the lines. The front section and the back section separate. Okay, well I've got the first set of injectors unbolted, so they should just pick right up and out. Just like that. Now we'll work on getting the other set out. We'll set these down on the counter so that they don't get dirty or anything. And now our rear set of injector lines should come out just as easy. Oh, I forgot I tied an air line up to one of the brackets, so I have to undo that. That is an extra step for me. Most of you won't have to do that. Now that our injector lines are out of the way, we'll start digging into the good stuff. Time to remove the rocker cover. They're 10mm bolts. There should be 5 of them located on the very top of the rocker cover. Okay, now that we've got all these 10mm bolts removed, I find the key to getting the valve cover off is to lift it up onto this hose here. Just get it right up on top of it and slide it forward. Like that. And now we'll carefully set this off to the side, and we're almost ready to go. The next thing we'll do is we'll remove the injector tubes. You can use a flat blade screwdriver. It's a little trick. If you go over to Mopar1973man.com, I'll post a link in the video description. He's got all sorts of tips and tricks to do this kind of stuff. You don't need to buy special tools. He's figured out methods of getting them out. So just take your flat blade screwdriver, set it just on the threads, gently give her a little pop, just like that. Couldn't be any easier. So now we'll set all these to the side and show you guys what to do next. Okay, now that we've got the injector tubes out, Show you guys how to remove the injectors. We'll start with the number 2 because that's the one that you guys can see the easiest. So we need our 8mm for this. Start by unscrewing, unbolting this guy. This one can come completely out. This is the bolt that's closest to the exhaust port. And if I remember correctly, this will just pop right out like that. That's all it is. It's super easy to get these injectors out. So we'll set that off to the side. Don't mix up any of the stuff from each individual cylinder. We'll take one of our intake horn bolts, the shorter one, and we'll thread it into the back side or the top of the injector. This is a little trick, another one that I learned off of moparman.com. Then we'll take our flat blade and gently pry up. And now the injector's out. It is extremely easy to do this. Just make sure you're careful. Now we'll just unthread this. This injector can go off to the side. Well, now we've got all the injectors out, so we're going to go grab a light and make sure that their copper washers have all been removed from the cylinders. And there's been a little bit of oil spilling down in there, but that's not a huge deal. So number 6 and 5 are a little bit hard to see, so what we could do is just check the injectors themselves. Well, as you can tell, 1, 2, 3, oh, sorry, missed one, 3, 4, 5, and 6 all have the copper washers on the bottom of them. So what we'll do now is we can install new O-rings onto our high pressure tubes, and then we'll get the injectors installed, put the new tubes in. Alright, so I'm ready to install the injectors now. Awesome. This is going on the truck for sure. So before I install these things, I just want to have a quick look at them. They're friggin' really nice looking. So this is what you get. Brand new machined injector. They come with new copper gaskets on them. And let's have a look at the nozzle. Things are hard to get off when you got diesel covered fingers. Okay, there we go. Now this is a sack style injector. Notice the tip, it's got a bit of a bulge onto it. And the 7 stands for how many holes there are. You can see the tiny little holes in there. And the .009 is for the size of the holes. So anyways, I'm gonna get these bad boys installed. I can't friggin' wait. Well guys, I'm just in the process of installing these new injectors by Contagious Diesel Performance. Make sure you remove all the caps from the injector tips. And make sure you put a little bit of oil on the O-ring just to make it all slippery and click right in position. You're going to want to make sure that the copper washer doesn't fall off sideways into the hole. These ones are all really loose. There it goes, it just fell. Feels like it's... can't tell if it's binding or not. So I'm going to have to make sure that it's sitting flat in there. Now what I like to do is I like to thread this bolt down into it while I push down on the injector just to seat it. You'll hear it, well, you'll feel it pop. There we go. Yeah, that O-ring wasn't sitting right. So I'll get it set in there, thread it in a little bit, pop. And that's how I install the injectors. When you're installing them, make sure that this hole faces forwards. You'll notice that there's a little notch grooved out in the bottom of this. Make sure they're all facing forwards with this hole lined up. This groove in here will be lined up for your injector tie down. You see that raised portion there? Yeah, this will hold it the proper way. It's pretty hard to mess these up. I don't even think that the injector you'll be able to get the tie down or the hold down in there with this backwards. But just make sure it's done right the first time. You won't have to worry about it. And again, make sure you pull these little caps off. So I don't think it would work too good with these on. So just go make sure. And there. Thread it in. And pop. Okay, so now we will go and get our injector tubes installed. And we won't put the clamps on yet, or the injector hold downs on yet. We'll make sure that our injector tubes are inserted first, and then we'll start putting the injector lines back on. And then we'll go and torque these down to 89 inch-pounds. So when you're taking the injectors out, make sure that you put the injector tubes in the same slots they came out of. Just because everything will be worn the same. They'll be worn to their individual cylinders. So I got 3. Sometimes they don't like the top. Most of the time you can get them to click into place. There we go, got that one. And these will go on the same way we took them off. I can't remember which way the freaking red line went. This is for my emergency air shutoff. This was an oil field truck, so it's equipped with a bunch of safety stuff like that. Okay. Now I'll just thread these in just a little bit just to hold them in place while I go and tighten them up on the injector pump. Okay guys, well I messed up a little bit. Set the injector tie downs on top first and then push in the tubes and tie them down. Some of the injectors weren't quite lined up, so I had trouble getting some of the caps on, but I loosened off the injector line tie down, or the injector line nuts, and slid the things on and they locked right in. So now we can tighten these down, and then we'll tighten the injector tie downs to 89 inch-pounds. Okay, so I got all my lines tightened down. I got my torque bar set to 89 inch-pounds, and now we'll go forwards and snug them down. That's it. Now we can get the head put on, or the valve cover put on, and we're just about there. Now don't forget to reinstall all your little nuts and stuff to hold the injector lines down, because if you do forget them, you're going to have massive boost leaks, because these back bolts all go into this chamber, in your air intake chamber. So just remember to reinstall them.
and you won't have any problems.
Well, I got everything all buttoned up and retightened the Zeus clamp to prevent boost leaks. I got everything tightened up. I got my ground for my chip installed again. I retightened that guy. That's my air fitting, but I did forget that's where the other mount for the dipstick tube goes. I got all the injectors tightened down. I'm gonna have to loosen them off to bleed them now, but yeah, she should be ready to fire, so I'll do a first fire video on her for you. So when you're bleeding your injectors, crack lines 1, 3, and 4, back off the injector line nut a little bit, and then crank it over. And as soon as you start seeing fuel spill out, close off that line. If all 3 start spilling out, then close them all and crank her over till she fires. So anyways, I'm going to point it at the stacks to see how much she smokes now. Just about got her. Well, I got all my injectors installed. The truck runs awesome. So what I did is I put the new caps on the old injectors. So you could even throw them in the old bag and send them back for cores. Don't forget to do that, and then you get your $100 back. So, friggin' rights. Just like that. So I'd love to give a huge thank you and a shout out to Lee at Contagious Diesel Performance for the injectors. If you guys need injectors at a very reasonable price, give Lee a shout, tell him I sent you. So thanks for watching, guys, and until next time, take care. I'm gonna go see how much she belches the smoke now.